4, 5 and 6. This week we are learning about the Mayflower 400. This year it is 400 years ago since the Mayflower ship set sail from our Plymouth here in the UK and went on a long voyage that lasted 66 days and arrived at what they then called the Plymouth Colony in the USA in America. Here is the knowledge schema for the week ahead. Start at the middle where it says the Mayflower, and then you will see there are 3 prongs. One says the English Pilgrims, so we will be learning about where they came from and where they went and who they were and why they wanted to explore. The second prong is the ships. This week we will be learning about the 2 ships, the Speedwell and the Mayflower. We will be learning about what life was like on board the ships. We'll be learning about the types of sickness and death and also births that happened on the ships, and also the types of food that the people had to eat and the accommodation on the ships. Then the third prong, the journey. We will be learning about the routes that both the Speedwell and the Mayflower did, and you will be creating maps to clearly show this. We will be talking about the length, how many days they were at sea for, and why it took so long, and also how the weather impacted the journey. At the top of the graphic schema, you will see a timeline that will help you. On the 5th of August 1620, the Speedwell and the Mayflower left Southampton. On the 15th of August 1620, the Speedwell and the Mayflower left Dartmouth. On the 16th of September 1620, the Mayflower began a solo journey to Plymouth in America. In November 1620, the Mayflower landed at Cape Cod in America. And on April 1621, the Mayflower set sail for a return journey back to England. As we go along, before each section of new learning, I would like you to get out your knowledge schema, use your finger and track. Just talk through to yourself what you've learnt. At the end of each session, I would like you to do exactly the same, but this time I would like you to add your new learning onto your knowledge schema, onto your graphic schema. You can do this using pictures and words like I have done. So this is a useful document that you will be using throughout. You can either print it off or you can put a piece of paper on the screen and you can trace it, whichever is easier for you. This page talks about wow words, and we would like you to record new words which you read during this week's theme. It's split into 4 quadrants, so we want you to write the definition. So what does the word mean? We would like you to put this into a sentence, draw a picture, and can you think of a similar word to your wow word? And in the middle, you'll see the box. That's where you write your wow word, the word that you have discovered this week. You will see this sheet comes up continuously throughout your learning this week. Again, you can print several copies off and work your way through, or you can create your own rectangle, split it into 4 with a box in the middle, and create your own wow words. I'd like to talk through the word wall with you. This is a method that we are now using to organise our words. There are 3 layers, 3 bricks in our word wall. Start at the bottom. Climb the first brick in the word wall. So these are basic words, everyday words which you are exposed to from an early age, such as warm, dog, tired, run, talk, table, at, the, on, under, boat. These are the first bricks. The second brick are what we call high-frequency words, common words that are found across a variety of subjects, such as contradict, circumstance, precede, retrospect, opinion, think, ideas. These are all words that we use all the time. They are high frequency words. The third layer, the third brick in the word wall, are subject-specific words, so rarer words which are heard only within particular contexts, such as estuary, alliteration, igneous. And you will see this throughout our programme this week, that the word wall will keep cropping up after every session. You can add to your word wall, that's absolute no problem. Or you can use it as a tool to help you when you come to do your writing or your oracy tasks at the end of the week. And here is the word wall that I have created for you this week to aid you with your writing and your oracy and your reading as you go along. Please add to it as you wish. Monday, the 6th of July 2020, Mayflower 400. Today you will be comparing Plymouth in the 1620s to Plymouth in 2020. The Mayflower story. The Mayflower ship set sail on the 16th of September 1620 from Plymouth, UK, to voyage to America, known to English explorers at the time as the New World. Its passengers were in search of a new life, some seeking religious freedom, others a fresh start in a different land. They would go on to be known as the Pilgrims and influence the future of the United States of America in ways that they could never have imagined. There were 102 passengers and approximately 30 crew aboard the Mayflower when it landed in Plymouth Bay, Massachusetts, in the harsh winter of 1620, 400 years ago. A significant number were known as separatists, a group of people who mostly wanted to live a life free from the current Church of England. On the ship there was also the crew, the servants, and unaccompanied children, so that was children who were sent there alone by their families to be looked after by the adults. Leaving England, there was another ship called the Speedwell, also setting sail for the New World. The Speedwell set sail from Holland and was planning to meet the Mayflower in England. The plan was for the Speedwell to meet the Mayflower in Southampton before setting off together across the Atlantic towards the New World. When the two ships met in Southampton, there were concerns about the Speedwell, which needed repairs after developing a leak. But on the 15th of August 1620, the two ships set sail from Southampton. The two ships didn't get very far when the Speedwell began to take on water again. They decided to change the route and headed towards Dartmouth, a port on the south coast of Devon. It took about a week for the port's skilled craftsmen to make repair the damage to the Speedwell. However, the second attempt did not go as hoped either. The Mayflower and the Speedwell were 300 miles off Land's End in Cornwall when the Speedwell began leaking water again and could not risk continuing. The two boats turned about and headed back towards Plymouth. One last stop. By this time, the cramped, damp, and miserable passengers had already spent up to 6 weeks at sea. They were hoping to have landed in the New World within 6 weeks. The Speedwell was finally declared unfit for the journey, and some of the pilgrims dropped out. The rest of the pilgrims from the Speedwell crowded onto the Mayflower. They left Plymouth on the 16th of September 1620 with up to 30 crew and 102 passengers on board. And below you can see a picture of the Mayflower steps, where the Mayflower set sail from. Sailing the Atlantic, the Mayflower took 66 days to cross the Atlantic, a horrible crossing because of winter storms and long bouts of seasickness, so bad that most could barely stand up during the voyage. By October they began encountering a number of Atlantic storms that made the voyage treacherous. It was so bad that the sails often could not be used. Instead, they simply drifted. One passenger was swept overboard, and one woman, Elizabeth Hopkins, gave birth to a baby boy, who they named Oceanus. The Pilgrims intended to land in New York. However, their navigation was not quite accurate, and they missed the Hudson River and New York. As they approached land, the crew spotted Cape Cod just as the sun rose on November the 9th, 1620. Rough seas nearly shipwrecked the Mayflower, and instead of moving on, they decided to stay and explore Cape Cod rather than risk another journey south. They anchored in what is now called Provincetown Harbour. The Mayflower Compact. The Pilgrims knew that they had no right to stay and live in this land that they had accidentally landed upon, and decided to write a document that would allow them to legally settle in the new land. The Pilgrims spent time exploring the area and renamed the area Plymouth, Massachusetts, in the New World, now the United States of America. Look at the following pictures and photographs of Plymouth Harbour and the Barbican in 1620 and again in 2020. What do you notice? What are the similarities and differences? Why do you think the pictures from 1620 are drawings or paintings and not photographs? Which year would you like to live in, 1620 or 2020? Why? Activity 1. Compile a list of similarities and differences you notice. Activity 2. Use the list to help you to write a justification of your opinion. Would you like to live in 1620 or 2020? Why or why not? Please share your work with your child's class teacher through Twitter or by using our new email addresses below. We really do want to celebrate everything that you are doing at home. Tuesday, the 7th of July 2020, Mayflower 400. Today, you will be drawing maps to show the voyage of the Speedwell and the Mayflower ships. Familiarise yourself with the previous pictures showing the voyages of the Speedwell and the Mayflower. On the following pages you will see a map of the United Kingdom and a map of the world. Activity 1. Print out the map of the United Kingdom, or you can trace it from the screen. Next, using the United Kingdom map as a model, plot the routes and voyages that the Speedwell and the Mayflower took. London to Southampton, to Dartmouth, and finally to Plymouth. Activity 2. Print out the map of the world, or you can trace it from the screen. Next, using the map of the world as a model, plot and draw the voyage of the Mayflower, leaving Plymouth in England, and finally arriving at the Plymouth colony in Massachusetts. Please share work with your child's class teacher through Twitter or by using our new email addresses. We really want to celebrate everything that you are doing at home. Wednesday, the 8th of July 2020, Mayflower 400. Today, you will be imagining that you are a pilgrim and you will be writing a letter to express your hopes and dreams about going and discovering a new land. On the next page, you will be able to watch a video explaining why the Pilgrims left England to settle into a new life. As you watch the video, make notes about the main reasons. You can use bullet points, pictures, words and pictures to make your notes. You choose which way you prefer to help you to remember the information. Watch the video and make sure that you have made notes to help you remember the information. You are now going to imagine that you are a pilgrim from England and you are set to go on the Mayflower to explore and build a new life in the new world. Activity 1. Write a letter to a relative who is not going on the Mayflower. Make sure that your letter explains why you are going on the Mayflower and your hopes and dreams for settling in a new country and beginning a new life.
I'm Sabat and I'm 13-year-old kid and I want to know why the pilgrims left England.
Good morning. Eleanor Billington is my name. Why did we leave England? Well, variety of reasons, I suppose. The originators of the venture were part of a separated church, separated from the king, his church in England, I mean. And they went into the Netherlands for the freedom of their consciences, but they found it not to their liking, found they had too much freedom of religion, for the Dutch allowed everyone in. And some of us were drawn into it by the investors, our partners, for it being a business venture. The congregation got the backers for it, got them to put the money up, and they drew in others to increase the numbers, such as ourselves, my husband and my family. And, well, we're here for a better life. I think everyone is. My neighbours who lived in Holland lived very poorly, and I wanted something better for their children, you know, for their posterity. I think that's what everybody's here for.
Hi, welcome to Plymouth Plantation. My name is Kathleen Curtin, and I'm one of the historians here at the museum. That's a great question. Pilgrims, though, is not a term that people used back then. They called themselves Englishmen or colonists or, I think, just people. Pilgrim is a more modern term that people have used to describe the people who came here on Mayflower and subsequent vessels, but it's kind of imprecise, so we tend not to use it as historians. The people who came here came for a variety of reasons. I think one of the biggest myths is that everyone came for religious freedom, and the reality is they had lots of freedom in Holland to practice their religion. They came here so they could bring their church, so they could prosper economically, and they were really looking for a better future for themselves and their children.
Please share work with your child's class teacher through Twitter or by using our new email addresses. We really want to celebrate everything that you are doing at home. Thursday, the 9th of July 2020, Mayflower 400. Today, you will be imagining that you have been on the Mayflower and you are writing a diary to explain and talk about the events that have happened on the voyage from Plymouth, England, through to Plymouth in Massachusetts. On the next page, you will find another video. This video focuses more on the journey, the voyage on the Mayflower from Plymouth in England to Plymouth in the New World, now the United States of America. Once again, make notes as you watch the video. It will help you to do this in preparation for the next activity. Have a look at the next few pages. They show extracts from a fictional diary about life aboard the Mayflower ship. Your next task will be to write a diary extract for what you imagine life would be like if you were on board the Mayflower. I will read the diary to you, but I would like you to read along with me. You can also access the clips from the link above. Journal Entry 1. Aboarding the Mayflower. 16th September 1620. Dear Diary, hello, my name is Priscilla Mullins and I am 18 years old. Today is a very exciting day. Me and my family, Joseph, my brother, Alice, my mother, and William, my father, are boarding the Great Mayflower. Originally, the voyage was supposed to be journeyed by 2 ships. The Speedwell ship had something wrong with it, so all passengers had to stay in the Mayflower. She's quite big compared to other ships I have seen, and is a magnificent work of art. The many strangers around us start to push us around, and soon Joseph is lost in the crowd. We frantically search for him, and I catch a quick glimpse of his face. As I rush to him, I see that he is being pushed around like Anne, my old rag doll, when Elias the dog plays with her, and I immediately feel frightened and angered. I grab his hand and take him back to mother and father. We all sigh in relief. Joseph is 15 and insists that he is old enough to take care of himself, but I disagree. I am his older sister, so I must care for him and make sure he is safe. As we all rejoice, I see an adorable kitten slip through the legs of people like an agile snake slithering through the branches of a tree. I remember father telling me that there were many cats and kittens aboard the ship to rid the rats. We continue to walk towards the ship so we can get to where we are staying. I am not sure what to expect when we get to our rooms. I hope there will be separate rooms. Finally, we are aboard the ship. A man leads us to where we are staying and says, "Welcome to the 'tween decks. This is where all the passengers are staying." I suddenly realise that all the passengers are staying in one room. There are over 100 passengers here. We all find a place to stay and start to unpack my stuff. The place was very small for all the passengers to fit in, very smelly and very dirty. Each of us brought a chest full of our belongings. I brought a small pouch of salt, an extra pair of shoes, peas, water, cheese, some clothing, household items like plates and wooden spoons, a Monmouth cap, and much more. The 5 most important items I brought are probably water, so I will not become thirsty, dried beef for food, blankets and rugs for warmth and comfort, sewing needles so I can fix my clothes if they rip, and a bag of cloth so I can sew new clothes. I was taught how to use a sewing needle when I was young, as well as use it for emergency blankets. I was in charge of bringing household items for the family to use. My mother was in charge of bringing food and bedding materials like canvas sheets, bolsters, which are pillows, filled with straw, and more blankets and rugs. Both my father and brother were in charge of bringing tools as well as some arms. After we all settled in, we ate some cheese and got ready to go to bed. It was very crowded. The room was filled with strangers. I needed to go to the bathroom, so I looked around for the chamber pots. Finally, I found them, but it turns out there was only one. When I came back, I got comfortable and started laying down for bed. The boat started lurching as I fell asleep, and I quickly told myself I would explore the ship tomorrow. Bye! Journal Entry 2. Exploring the Mayflower. The 17th of September, 1620. Dear Diary, today I am exploring the Mayflower. I asked Joseph if he wanted to come, but he said he was going to try to find some friends for him to play with on this journey. Since my whole family are early risers, we are all up and eating by around 7. Right now it's probably around 7:30. I'm not sure. As I finish eating, I hug my parents and make my way out. There are many people still sleeping right now. The first place is the 'tween decks. It is where all us pilgrims stay. Here it smells terrible, hardly has enough room for everyone, has only one chamber pot, has no privacy, and it is very dirty. The boat is slowly rocking back and forth, and as I tiptoe out, trying to avoid stepping on anybody, as I start climbing up to the deck, I hear the crew of men shouting orders back and forth. This is a 17th century boat. It is quite chilly outside, unlike the 'tween decks, where many people are staying, which helps them to stay warm. I wish I brought a sweater to wear. No worry, I whispered to myself. It will be much warmer when I explore the inside of the ship. Up here on the decks it is chilly and there are not many other people than the crew. I look over the edge of the railing and I can see the crashing dark blue waves below. Before I came on to the ship, I briefly studied about it. The rigging was made up of 6 sails, which I now can see. It is wind-powered and works like a kite. It is quite fascinating to see all the workers up on the sails. During storms they clewed up, which means clipped up the sails. I kept on walking and eventually came to the forecastle. The forecastle is also known as the forecastle. The forecastle is the kitchen. I did not go inside, but I slightly peered in. I was a tiny bit frightened, since I did not know if I was allowed to be in this area. The cook was inside working hard preparing food. Some of the things they have in the kitchen are oatmeal, peas, pork, fish, cheese, and other food that can be stored easily for long periods at sea. Next, I moved on to the hold. The hold was the storage room. It was where they kept food and supplies. Inside is 180 tons of large barrels. Some of the things in the hold are wine, water, sugar, spices, rice, oatmeal, meat, cheese, and pilgrim furniture and tools. After I stumbled on a bit longer, I came to the steerage. This was the room where the helmsman steered the ship. As I peered inside, I saw the helmsman steer by using a whipstaff which turned the rudder. In a room above, the corner told the helmsman where and how to steer. Just right now I can hear the corner shout orders. I can just imagine what a tough job he had. He had to steer 100-foot long ship without seeing anything. I'm just waiting to see how many rooms are left to discover. Next, I find the great cabin. Luckily, I see no one inside. If someone found me in here, I would be in big trouble. Now I am glad that Joseph did not come. I would not want him to get into trouble too if I were to be found. The great cabin is where the master, master's officers, and master's apprentice slept, ate, and lived. Though its name was the great cabin, it wasn't that big. The final room I was able to find was the round house. This room is where the master charted the ship's course. I imagine in the future there will be high-tech global positioning devices and radars, but right now we are not even close to having those. The master had to go on deck and measure position of stars and horizon using instruments like quadrants and cross-staff to help determine latitude, north-south position. The master had to be really excellent at maths. After I finished exploring, I started making my way back to the 'tween decks. While on the decks, I decided to stay a while to get some fresh air. Now more people are here. Today was very exciting. Below is a map of the Mayflower that I have made. Journal Entry 3. Meeting New People, the 2nd of October 1620. Dear Diary, hello. Over the long while I was gone, I have been up to many things, sort of. In a ship there is not much to do. In my opinion it is very boring. Although I have got to meet new people, there is still not much to do, except for drawing in my journal, talking to new people and wandering around. In a ship it is very harsh. Many of us have come here unprepared for the journey, and already some are injured and sick. As the ship roughly rocks back and forth, many of us are injured by being tossed from wall to wall. It is also very cold, so many of us have become sick. The majority of us are seasick and often have to get on the deck and get fresh air. Thankfully, I only have minor injuries and is neither sick nor seasick. Not many exciting things happened, but here are some. During the storm, a man was tossed overboard. Thankfully, he did not die and he was pulled back up. He's probably very sick, though, due to the extremely cold ocean water. No one really goes on deck anymore since there is always a rough and wet storm going on. I feel really bad for the crew since they have to spend the whole day in the rough, wet storm. During the journey so far, a baby was born. His name was Oceanus and he is adorable. I personally find the name hilarious since he was born during the voyage at sea. Sometimes when I am bored, me and Joseph share stories. Joseph has found some friends to play with and he spends most of his time with them. Most of the children on board are younger than me though. My mother is sick and I spend most of caring for her. My father is doing fine and he tries his best to take care of us all. Today I met the captain, Christopher Jones. He assures everyone that everything will get better, but I'm not sure. So far the journey is not going very well for me. Journal Entry 4, The Voyage Route, the 1st of November 1620. Dear Diary, we are nearly to our destination. During the storm, the ship blew terribly off course. It started going to the north where it is very cold. Us pilgrims did not plan for this weather. Some of us are becoming deathly sick. My whole family, including me now, is at least a tiny bit sick. We all spend most of our time laying down with blankets piled up on top of us. I try to be responsible and care for everybody, but it is very hard to tend to all their needs all at once. Last week we made a stop at Newfoundland to freshen up ourselves and get new supplies. It is now 6 people who are about to die. They are much too sick. Originally, the route was supposed to go straight across to Virginia, but now we are headed much north of Virginia. We will probably land in Cape Cod and name our colony Plymouth, just like the name of the colony that the Mayflower left off at. When we arrive, it will be winter and it will probably snow. We probably are going to be staying in the boat for a while until we are able to start our own colony. No one expected the journey to be like this. Hopefully, there will be friendly people there who will help us. Below is a map of our route that I have made. Journal Entry 5. We have arrived! The 12th of November, 1620. Dear Diary, we finally have arrived. For now, we will all be staying in the boat. We are not ready to start building the colony since it is so cold. Outside it is snowing and it is very cold. By now some people have died from sickness. Life here is harsh and not at all what we planned. Every day a few men run outside and gather water and food. Sometimes they take corn from the people that live in this land. I am so excited to finally be able to step on solid ground, but it is far too cold to get off that ship. Life now is harsh. People are dying. Even more people are getting sick, and we are running out of supplies. We are probably going to stay on the ship this whole winter. If I had a choice, I would never go on this voyage again. We are all worried about our new life here, and many of our loved ones have died. Still, we try to have hope in our new life here. Some challenges I am worried we will face are surviving the winter, building our colony, and losing our loved ones. Though I am worried, I know everything will work out in the end. Make sure that you have listened to and read the diary extracts. If you have a printer, you could print it out and highlight or underline key information that will help you to write your own diary about the voyage on the Mayflower. You are now going to imagine that you are a pilgrim on the Mayflower. Use the model extracts of a diary from the Mayflower to support your writing. Activity 1. Write a diary extract about what life was like on board the Mayflower. Remember that diaries are written in the first person. You are writing about you, so you will have to use I throughout your diary. Please share work with your child's class teacher through Twitter or by using our new email addresses. We really want to celebrate everything that you are doing at home. Friday the 10th of July 2020, Mayflower 400. Today you will be having the opportunity to hot seat, either as a pilgrim or as a native Indian. Make sure that you read the next couple of slides. Today we are going to be hot seating. You are going to pretend that you are a pilgrim that has been on the Mayflower and has now settled in the Plymouth colony. Activity 1. Read the next 2 pages. The first one is to help you to imagine what it was like to be a pilgrim. The second page is a list of questions for you to answer. If you want to write down the questions and your answers, that would be wonderful. However, if you prefer to have someone asking you the questions and you being recorded answering them, that is also absolutely fine, and we look forward to hearing your opinions as a pilgrim. Pilgrim. It was a hard crossing to America aboard the Mayflower. It is not a ship that was designed for passengers, so conditions were cramped and uncomfortable. You were very relieved to arrive in New England. Times were hard at first. Your rations of wheat had gone, and you were left with little food. You have been involved in hunting parties, but you are not sure what is safe to eat and what is poisonous. You are not sure how to farm the strange land here, what is good to plant, what will grow in these conditions. Some people suggested planting an American vegetable called a potato, but you are pretty sure this must be poisonous. During the first winter here in New Plymouth, many people have died. The cold, disease, and hunger have all taken their toll. Nearly half of the people who came with you on the Mayflower are dead. The Indians have been kind to you, teaching you about farming and helping you with gifts of food. These people are not good Christians, though. They have savage ways and don't seem to be interested in the good news that you have brought about Jesus. You are planning a feast to give thanks to God for your survival, and you are happy that things are getting better. Some Indians have been invited to the feast. You hope they bring some food along, but you had better watch out for people stealing things. Pilgrim's hot seat questions. What do you think about your new home? Why did you leave England? What difficulties have you found living here? What are the local people like? Do you feel that this is a good place to practice your religion in peace? Why are you having a feast? What is your aim for the future? Do you trust the locals? How have things been for the last few years? What do you make of the new arrivals? Do all of your people want to help them? Why do you think they are struggling to survive? What do you think of the way these people act? What kind of religion do these pilgrims have? Are you planning on going to the feast? Do you trust the strange people? So the first set of hot seat questions are for you as if you are a pilgrim. The second paragraph of hot seat questions are for you as if you are a native Indian of the Plymouth colony in Massachusetts. Feel free to write your own questions that could be written for the pilgrims or for the native Indians. Don't forget to share them with us, please. Please share work with your child's class teacher through Twitter or by using our new email addresses. We really want to celebrate everything that you are doing at home.